Sitting out here in Cinco Ranch, about to walk into that listing of ours that just went into contract last night. Yes, or actually this morning. I'm going to go walk through and check it real quick. But I just left the Houston Association of REALTORs monthly luncheon networking meeting. I go to these things, it's every other month. I go to them for a couple of different reasons. Number one, I want to bring our agents there so they meet other agents, so they network. You need to be out and about. You don't need to be sitting in an office, unless you're in the office prospecting, hunting for business in the mornings. But after that, you need to get out there and meet people. More people that know you do real estate, the more homes you'll sell. And so I was there talking to other brokers and business owners and such. I had a conversation with a broker. And he has a new independent brokerage that's opened in our area. I guess it's brand new. He doesn't have any agents yet, basically. And I said, do you have an office? And he said, well, no, but I'm going to. I'm going to when I get to a certain number of agents, and I'll get an office. So basically, he's working from home. He's a broker. Working from home. He's launched a brokerage. And I said, good luck with that. Why would you open a brokerage? Like, what are you trying to do? Because the industry that we're in right now, I've been doing this 23 years. I've had my own brokerage. I would never do that again. It's not profitable, especially in this market where we've been for 4 years, where home sales are down, transaction count. And then I've been at EXP for 5.5 years. I was at Real for a year, and now we've been with Realty of America for 2 years. And it isn't that I switch brokerages. I always go for opportunity. Always. I'm going to always look for opportunity, period. I'm here to make money and make a living and go where I think I can make a difference. That's what I'm going to do. So I asked him, what is your model? Tell me about your model, so I can understand this. And at that time, I hadn't told him, I've had my own brokerage and all that. I was just kind of having a conversation with him, right? And so he says, they're on splits. And I said, well, what are your splits? And he said, well, it's going to vary. It's going to vary. So remember, keep in mind, he doesn't have any agents. It's going to vary by the agents, 70-30. Some will be on 80-20. Some will be on 85-15. But there will be splits. And I said, okay. I said, well, tell me, because here's what I believe. In the model, the way of the future, which is EXP, Real, Realty of America, and LPT. I believe those are the 4 companies with the model of the future. There's a couple of big brands out there that are doing really well. Compass is doing really well. Serhant's doing really well. They don't have the rev share model that we do, but they're all in some form of a split. There's always a split. Like, you got to have a split. There's got to be money that goes to the company so that the company can run. Like, these aren't nonprofits. So, that's first and foremost. And so I said, I don't understand. Help me to understand. Just having a conversation. Help me to understand why somebody would go pay you at your independent brokerage an 85-15 or an 80-20 or 70, even said 70-30. Why would anyone pay you that kind of a split? Like, what can you give them when they could come with me at Realty of America or EXP or LPT or Real and have the same split or better, and they would actually become shareholders in the company when they sell homes and they produce? And he said, well, there's certain ways to do this, because what you're talking about is the rev share. And I said, no, that's not what I'm talking about. Because in the rev share model, number one, there has to be revenue for there to be rev share. So there's got to be production. People have to sell homes. That's number one. But if you study the rev share model, EXP, Real, LPT, Realty of America, for the most part, most of the agents don't receive rev share. They just focus on selling homes, because that clearly is the number one problem with real estate agents. They don't sell homes. That's why 84% of them haven't sold a home this year. And so I said, well, no, I'm not talking about that. What I'm talking about is the splits. Like, we're on an 85-15 split, but our agents, when they get to a certain level of production and when they join and when they cap, they get shares of the company. They become shareholders in the company. That means something. Versus your company. I said, you can't do that. And he says, well, I can. And I go, well, no, you can't, because you don't have an office. Like, you're just getting started, right? And you'd have to go big, because it's based on agent count and revenue. I said, do you realize you'd have to do billions to be valuable? And you'd have to be, nationwide. Like, there's metrics to this stuff. Do you know how much it would cost you to try to compete against the companies that are doing it? Like billions. And I could tell he was getting frustrated with our conversation. And then I went further because I'm like, this doesn't make sense. Like, why are you opening a brokerage? It doesn't make sense. And I said, there's so many people out there. I said, I kind of think it's funny. There's so many people out there getting their, and at that point I told him I am a broker. I've had my own brokerage. And I said, there's so many people out there that get their broker's license and they're like, oh, I'm going to go open my own brokerage. And it's the race to the top and I'm going to get all this revenue and the agents are going to do all this and I'm not going to have to do anything. I'm just going to teach agents and make money. It doesn't work like that. And I said, okay, well, the problem is 84% of the agents haven't sold a single home this year. So that's the number one problem, is that agents aren't trained and they're not doing the work. And he said, well, that's what I'm going to do. And so then he starts talking about his structure. And he says, well, I'm going to have mentors in place. And the mentors are going to they're going to have a fee. They're going to take a little piece because Texas law says you got to have a mentor for your first 3 transactions if you're new. And I said, so you can have a mentor for the first 3. And he said, no, it's going to be more than that. It'll be more structured. And I said, okay, well, be very careful because the mentors in a lot of these organizations have never been a top producer. They don't even know what they're doing, but they want to go take this title because they think they can earn an income off the mentees. And he said, well, that's what we come in. We're going to train them. And I said, you're going to train your mentors to be mentors. And he said, that's right. I'm going to put them, I'm from the military. It's going to be military style. I'm going to train them to be mentors. And at this point, I was just like, I don't understand our industry. I don't understand our industry, but I wasn't going to sit there and like, got to give him credit. He's trying. And so I just said, I go, you know what? I'm here to help in any way that I can. The industry is evolving and changing big time. And there's a lot of mergers and a lot of acquisitions and a lot of agents that are lost. And so I'm here to help you in any way I can. Real estate agents, like, pay attention to who you're paying attention. Ask questions. Do you have an office? Have you ever been a top producer? You have mentors in your group that I'm going to be trained by. Let me know what their sales production was. When was the last time they went on a listing appointment? When was the last time they sold a house? When was the last time they opened a Supra? When was the last time they negotiated a contract? When was the last time they did an objection handle over the phone? Like, the market is not an easy market, and it's not going to get easier. This is what we have. But we can make, if we're successful, we can and do make a good living, a great living, actually, wildly blessed. But it's not easy. You're working your face off, as you should. And these people that are painting these pictures that it doesn't require a lot of work, and you can get trained by these mentors that are trained, and that's the secret to success. It's not. So get with for one, I understand the discount brokerage model where it's on a flat fee. Great. They usually don't provide much for you because they don't have any money to provide it for you. There's got to be revenue coming in to pay for these things. Real estate is not a cheap industry. It's expensive to run an office. I have one. I know what our overhead is. It's $41,000 a month. That's our office, my office, not Realty of America's corporate office, my local office, because we have a local office right here. So I know what overhead runs. So when I look at revenue and what's coming in for these other offices, and what gets lost in all of this, I believe, is the sellers. Number one, it's a race to, I don't even know what, take advantage of the sellers, in my opinion. There's a lot of that. But then it's the agent. It's a race to get agents. Okay, well, let's hurry and gather all these agents. I'm gonna open a brokerage and I'm gonna gather these agents. Well, then what? Then what? Who's teaching them? Here's what I know. I get up every day and I teach agents. This isn't a plug for what we do at all. I'm just being truth. I get up every day on a Zoom and I train agents in our community at 8:30 in the morning. And guess what? I'm still in the trenches. I'm going in this door. See, there's our sign. This is a listing that we put on the market, and now we executed a contract last night. I listed this. I did. I'm the one that went on this listing appointment. I'm the one that negotiated this deal. I'm the one that made it happen. I'm the one that's about to go walk through, make sure everything's good. I'm in the trenches. I know what the market's doing. I'm obsessed with the market. There's a lot of brokers that aren't, and they don't have a clue what's going on. They haven't been on a listing appointment in 8 years. They may have never been on one. They've certainly never been a top producer. That stuff matters. If you want to be successful in this industry, you can be wildly successful. But be with the people that, number one, the math makes sense, the maths, and they have a proven, repeatable system and track record to get you want to go where you want to go, and they're there to help you. And at the end of the day, if you can be with one of what I believe the companies of the future, which is Realtor America, LPT, Real, and EXP, I believe that's the way of the future. Most of the people that I'm around believe that's the way of the future. And if you look at the people that are there making a difference in those companies, they're making a big, big difference. They're changing lives. We are changing lives. It's life changing. That many people can't be wrong. The table is turning where the traditional real estate model, the old school discount franchise model, it's old. That was the beginning. We've revolved. It's not the best way for the real estate agent any longer. There are companies out there in that model and teams, I will tell you for sure, that aren't the best way either. That's why you got to be selective on who you talk to, who you pay attention to, and who you partner with. So kudos to all the people that are out there trying to open these offices, but I'm gonna tell you, the struggle is real. I would never do it again. If I was given the opportunity to open an independent brokerage, I'd be like, no thanks. In fact, I have been given the opportunity twice now. I just had this conversation yesterday. I'm like, yeah, I'm good. I have no desire to open my own office again. So that's it, you guys. I got to go in and check on this house now. Bye.